Peace and blessings, everybody. All right, welcome back. Hope everybody had a good day today. Everybody's in good health, good spirit. It's evening time. Evening time is always the transformation. That's when harvests on the horizon come up. It's also what I call, you know, you're about to enter the underworld. When 5 o'clock come or when the sun go down, that's the movie Dusk Till Dawn. It's another side of us who turn into lycans, into the werewolf things, dual personality. In the daytime, under the sun, we act one way, and then when the sun go down at 5 o'clock, we change. We become these werewolves, these lycans, and we don't see it though, but we seek socialize and we seek to get off work and go have a drink. We change. We're not the same person that we was while we was at work, school, wherever we was. So we gotta give props to the evening, how it starts off. You know what I'm saying? So before we get this going, let me play some music, get this popping. It's one of my tracks right here. Peace and blessings, Sandra. How you doing? That's what's up. All right, we're about to get into this. Yes, that's great. I'm glad to see you doing good. That's good. That's what's up. I'm here just was talking about the evening time and the eve come how it's really giving thanks to the Father, the Son. The Son is actually behind a lot of the puppet strings that we don't know what's going on. If you read from Hermetic texts to all the ancient books, you see the Egyptians holding up their hands to the sun, the Mayans, the Toltecs, you name it. It's very significant in our life, not just for giving us our circadian rhythm, everything that we need, light and everything, but it also is the one that unlocks you when it thinks you're ready, and you gotta be conscious of this. And if you go and spend time in the sun, spend time in nature, these things unlock you if they feel you ready for it, and that's when you get exposed to the different frequencies of yourselves and a whole bunch of other stuff start taking place. So with that in mind, the sun, if you know that type of name for a holy, and so you come to realize it's like you respect it. Once you respect it, you will understand how it works. As we about to enter the what we call the underworld, the tuat. This is when Ra goes into the evening shift. For us, it's like another side of us comes alive. We have the day side where we nice feng shui. The higher self, us. It's for health. It's about healing. Ra, the sun, sends us these healing energies, renew us, and so we call that side the front, the tree of life. And you got now when it goes to 5 o'clock, your private area, it don't actually go over the horizon because it's as above so below. It actually curves underneath your vagina, your scrotum or whatever, and go back up your back. With the back of you now is an inverted version of the tree of life. You see how you got a crown here for the day side of the tree? Well, the crown is in the behind on the other side of you, or on the night side of the tree, with this side being the up. So you have now you traveling through the underworld. That's the book of gates, or we call the book of Amtuah. The sun goes up now, and as he goes through the night shift, it's the same beings in the day, but they have a dual nature. So when the sun goes away, it's like you see your face turn dark, you see more reflective. It's another you. It's more different. It's pressure being pushed on you by the air and the different beings in the air, so you feel it more. It's more intensified, and that's why we seek socializing. At 5 o'clock, you get off work, you want to go drink, you want to go spend time with your mate, you want to be with the kids, you want to be creative, start making music, start doing everything take place really when the sun is going down. So you got to respect what it does, you know what I'm saying? So our ancestors understood it, and they actually saw what is significance in our life is. So I just wanted to say it's very important for you to catch that. And we're going to get into from their alchemy. You know, alchemy is where this is all about. With everything in life is about alchemy, and Tantra was the way you go about it. It's the first way of life, really. Tantraism is the actual first thing that you would call yoga before the church, government, and religion got to it and converted it into yoga, with Buddha being a archetype of Jesus, and they was able to control the East and recolonize it through that. So when I'm teaching about Tantra, the Philosopher's Stone, alchemy, it's a deeper, longer story, because I'm gonna try to encompass the reality of it, not just sell you it in a fantasy way, like lead turned to gold and this is the copper is your soul. Not that quick nonsense. That's not going to give you the perception you need to unlock you. You want information that's going to unlock you, do an alchemical change within your body. This is all about chemistry. And once you see chemistry rules, you won't try to do a pseudo, I believe. You will actually let the alchemical change within your beliefs take place with what's called perception. And these open up your DNA flaps and your codons to actually release proteins. So with that in mind, let's get into what we call in Tantra the original way, our original ancestors' way. Well, with that in mind, now you got the sun and the moon. These is our first two forms that brought about the earth, you know what I'm saying? So the sun and the moon is what everybody actually paid attention to back then psychologically. So you look at the word hatha, you see it's the sun and the moon, that's what it means. So do Kiri and a whole bunch of other names that we see is actually named for the sun and the moon. The sun and the moon is also as above so below, reflected in your right and left hemispheres. You know, one side of you, the feminine side, which is your left side, is actually the moon, and the right side of you, which is the analytical side, which is the male side of you, is actually the sun. And so those energies come only through one. You really have two eyes, but you only one half. That's why the Egyptians show you like that. One half of you is male, one half of you is female. One half of you is right-sided, one side of you is left-sided. Like, you know, your right side of your brain control the left side of your body. So if you're in your right brain, you know that you're left-handed, or you take in the left way. Same thing if you're on the left side, you're on the right side of your body. And so those that actually think that they're right-handed is really left brain. You understand? Our catch up needs to drop off. Okay, take it easy, Sandra. Have a good one. All right? That's what's up. Yin and yang all the way. Now, with this in mind, with the sun and the moon, it became actually what we call alchemy. And alchemy was the process of actually learning the energies and the forces that the sun and the moon actually emit, and what influences they have on your body biochemistry wise. So now with that in mind, all right, peace and love. All right. So we're gonna start off. I'm gonna read a little bit of this real quick to you. I just came up with this to help awaken a lot of people. This is called dream yoga. It actually is a practice, and it's on the journey to waking up your soul and to redeem yourself back. So by you understanding from hearing it from other people's words or whatever, it'll give you a better interpretation and an understanding of what I'm trying to, bring to reality, bring to everybody that's on my channel. So it goes, dream yoga are significant parts of our life. They are as real as unreal as life itself. Dreams are extremely personal and transpersonal too. Our dreams are reflections of ourselves. In dreams, no matter how many characters appear, we meet ourselves. Dreams are mirrors to our soul. They help us to better understand our the dimension of experience. Here, time and space are much more liquid and plastic. They can be shaped and reshaped almost at will. Dreams hint of other worlds, other lives. They are a glimpse of our afterlife. So you see, dreams is not what we think they are. You know, first of all, you got to realize, like I said, in your world, no matter what you see in your astral, in your dream world, even in your reality, it's all a part of yourself. It's only you. So when I just read that and it says that everything you see is you in your astral or in your dream, in your reality, you got to understand that's a fact. That's not something we're saying philosophically or making a hypothetical question. It's for you to your perceptions to see this so that you can understand how to navigate in this world. So this will help you understand. This is actually the Tibetan dream yoga, and it actually awakens your consciousness to understand that it has a soul. I had a dream that a female lion would seduce me. Yes, Aboriginal Dread is actually doing that. She portrays all seductions, and it's for you to go meet your soul. She's taking you to the underworld for you to be judged. Can't find out what it means. I'm telling you right now, Aborigine, it's actually an invitation into the underworld. If you actually engage with her, she's gonna draw you into the underworld. It's like a cave. She's gonna take you in the cave, and you're gonna see Set there. Everybody's gonna be there, and this is gonna start a dark experience for you. Your Kundalini is gonna activate. You're gonna start bugging out, seeing things, hearing things. That's now your sensitivity is going to go up. You're going to become an empath in your energy. So everybody I've encountered, this is not something that I'm telling you because of my personal experience. I've told a lot of people this. They've done it and came back and was like, yo, thank you. You changed my life. You understand what I'm saying? I does this. You understand? Go ahead and flirt with her, do your thing with her. It's actually the invitation into the underworld. And it's going to change who you are from being Thomas Anderson sitting at the desk on the computer to becoming Neo, the neophyte to your soul. You see, once you enter the underworld, it's only one path. It's a portal to the higher worlds. But you have to start off on the low because actually you're a demion more than anything. You just don't know who you are because government, society, we're trained to believe ourselves. Look at it on the whole this way. If you look at China, China don't speak the same language as Spain, and Spain don't speak the same language as France. And so all of them is an algorithm that vibrate at their own rhythm. You listen to their music, it's a different rhythm. So every country have a different spirit, a different vibratory frequency to it. And so once you understand that, it's like everyone is attached to the same portal that goes to the same destination, but depending on your vibratory frequency of the patrioticness of your country or whatever, it's going to be a little difference in the journey when it starts off, you understand? But it's still the same underworld that goes up to the higher worlds, but you have to go through there to get to there. Look at it like, when, let's take it biblical for a quick second. When God kicked Adam and Eve out the Garden of Eden, what he did, he put two serpents to guard it, winged snakes with the swords, fiery swords. So now, say you come along, you walk into a forest, and you just see two big winged snakes. The first thing you're going to do is run. You're going to be scared to death. So now, imagine if you faced your fear and went through the snakes or faced them. Then you would have entered the Garden of Eden. So that's the same thing with the underworld. It's just there's a fear factor to get rid of certain characteristics, certain programs, certain algorithms that you was programmed to believe about yourself. And once you pass those, then you get into the higher angelic world. You got spirit guides and spirit administrators that actually is watching over everything to help you, and last second angels that come into your defense when you make bad choices and you get stuck. So it's a good system. It's not something that actually anything bad could happen to you. You're only going to learn about yourself, who you truly are. So that's my advice to you, is to do it. I used to actually help people do it, interpret their dreams, interpret their journey through the underworld, and interpret their astral projections. And at the end of the day, most of it really is your desires, your thought forms that you first have to get rid of bliss, your oppressive, your insignificance. These are going to take on us a real life story and dreams, projections, astral meditations. And so you have to actually face these beings, these creatures. They're not actually something from another dimension. It's yourself, it's your splits. You understand? The reason why this is important for you to know is because you are in an individual vibratory frequency of your own. You have a universe of your own. There's nobody in your universe. If you see things in your universe, it's because you're thinking about that. Your universe is supposed to be blank, nothing in it. Roam your universe alone with just maybe a few guides to help you guide you. But this has to be you cleaning out your macabre. You have to clean out all of that stuff, and that's attachments. Whatever is in there is attachments. You have to get rid of those attachments. So I just wanted to let you know that real quick. So now, this goes on to tell you, everyone dreams, although not all dreams are remembered equally. 56% of Americans have had a lucid dream. That is a dream in which one is aware that one is dreaming. 21% say that they are lucid dreams once a month or more. Meditators report vividly clear self-aware dreams weekly and even more often. How dreams can help us? Great healers have long recognized the power of dreams to inform and support us. Hippocrates said dreams are one of the most important ways to diagnose a patient's illness. Sigmund Freud turned on to the country work. The interpretation of dreams marked the beginning of the era of modern psychology and psychoanalysis. Certain dreams can convey valuable information to the dreamer. A week before the event, Abraham Lincoln dreamed that he was being assassinated. The Emperor Constantine dreamed that the radiant Greek letters spelling the name of Christ and was converted, leading to the dramatic conversion of the entire Byzantine Empire. I myself have received messages, teachings, and blessings and all that from them too. Some contemporary psychologists consider lucid dreaming as a valuable practice of personal growth. This mode is, however, different from Tibetan dream yoga. The spiritual practice goes deeper, helping us work with the great passages of life and death. Tibetan dream yoga teaches us how to navigate the groundlessness of moment-to-moment existence, which typically make no intellectual sense. It is at the level that we can cut through the illusionary nature of our mind and truly experience our marvelous human experience. Cultivating our initial ability to wake up within the dream, this can increase clarity and lucidity both waking and sleeping. So you can wake up in your dreams, and that's what your purpose is, to become conscious, or to be what's called awake, is to be awake and conscious in your dreams, like you're there experiencing it like a real world. If you find yourself dreaming and you're out of control in your dream, or just an experience in your dream, you're not in control, you're not awake. You know what I mean? Even when you're awake, you're not awake because you're not in control of your consciousness. So this is telling you how to wake up the ability within you. So this will happen if you do it. So you have increased clarity and lucidity, both working and sleeping. That's waking and sleeping, I mean. Help realizing the transparent dreamlike nature of experience, freeing up the mind, release energy blockages and accumulated tensions and stress. This loosens habits and make us more open, attuned, and flexible. It unleashes mobilized creativity. It brings repression and denial into consciousness, clarity and dispel confusion. It solves problems, relieve the process of death and rebirth, heal and relax us, expose fantasies, unlock aspirations and potential, facilitate direct encounters with our shadow nature. You see, peace and blessings, Latour. You see, we do have a shadow nature, and it's documented, and a lot of us don't be conscious of this. And if we're not conscious that we have a shadow nature, then you're not conscious of your true ego, because the shadow nature is the ego. It's a protector piece, though. But if you don't know these things, you'll just say, "Oh, I'm not. I don't have this. I'm pure. I'm good. I'm good." But that's not the case. So let's look into awakening. What happens when you awaken in your dreams? Because this is how you become conscious, awake, and like not just in your dream. It won't be a dream no more. But in your reality, you be way more conscious. It's like you see things on a different level by waking up in your dream. And this is a true thing. Like if you look at your hands in your dream, if you say, this is a dream, you will awaken in it. So this goes on to say the seminal Chinese philosopher Sheng Taizong, or whatever his name is, dreamed that he was a butterfly. Upon awakening, he wondered where he was a man, or was he dreaming that he was a butterfly, or was he a butterfly dreaming he was a man? And this is the experiences that happen when you awaken. Like, say for me, if I stared, like one time my friend, he had this little shell with the crab in it or whatever, and it's them pretty shell that spiral, and he heated with his lighter, and the thing ran out of it. And I'm like, fuck you do that for? What entertainment you get out of that? And so I'm just staring at this little thing running around, and I'm watching it for a while. So later on, I go home and I lay down. I close my eyes. All of a sudden, I'm him. I'm the thing. I'm on the beach. I'm watching rocks from a perspective of a little ass little thing. I watched how he left my yard, walked all the way to the beach, and walked to go get him another shell and put it on. And I'm like, how is this possible? How I became the little crab or lobster? And I swear to God, I watched it. This happened plenty of times. That's why I don't let nobody look in my eyes. I don't stare at nobody, because once I close my eyes, I can see everything that thing is doing or that person is doing, and it's not cool because your consciousness go with them. So this is the ability that I'm trying to awaken in you by telling you awakening within the dream state. This is what happens. All right. It says spiritual life is about awakening from the dream of unreality. The word Buddha itself come from the word Bundi, awakeful. Buddhist wisdom and practice help us to awaken to who and what we truly are, and to recognize the difference between the real and the unreal in our daily life. You see, and that's important for you to understand, because that's what started making me seeing life different, to go research certain things, because I wasn't sure anymore about what I was experiencing. The spirit world is showing me one thing, this reality showing me one thing. So when I go to research it, I see there was a time that wisdom and knowledge and history was cut off, and a new set of wisdom and knowledge was implemented by one group of people, and we've been living under that today. We believe it, but the spirit world is trying to get back to old story, because it seems like they want redemption, and the only way we could tap in is through our subconscious mind, through Akashic records. So it's like nothing can be hidden from you once you could awaken in your dreams. You see everything. There's nothing hidden from you. So you don't need to go ask a question. You just go in and you'll show you. All right. Now let me finish, because before I tell you the techniques and we go into some more to show you the forgery that's going on, I want to finish reading this. He said, all of our spiritual practices are designed to awaken us from the daydream, an illusion, and confusion. We are like sleepwalkers, semi-conscious, mudding our way through life. Self-knowledge through spiritual awakening help us to master our circumstances and conditions rather than victims. This is why the American spiritual master Gregory Gertrude said, commentary, man is born asleep, lives asleep, and dies asleep. And that's the true thing. So if you hear on my channel, it's for that only. Don't think you're going to get something else more than to wake you up, because like he said, we are asleep our whole life because we believe this, whatever the mind we're in. This is their mind. It's not your mind. Your mind is unique to yourself, and so you're here to claim back your mind. Okay, and he says, and what knowledge could a sleeping man have? If you think about it, and at the same time remember that sleep is the chief feature of our being, you'll soon understand that if man wishes to obtain knowledge, he should first of all think about how to awaken himself. That is about how to change his being. And that's the most important part, changing your being, because they made you their human being, but now, like, what I trying to tell you is take it back to being, which is staying in the moment, and only worrying about the circumference of about your hand, and taking care of what your heart tell you more than actually what's impulsing on you through your five senses to follow. Okay, it says South America shamans call this awakening from the dream of life shapeshifting. And so this is where we get the term shapeshifting from, not from reptilian. It actually was to awaken. That meant shapeshifting. You shapeshifted from one form because it actually, we're going to get into the alchemical part of it. So you see, it's alchemy, and the spiritual alchemy is not like how we say it with the gold and the mercury and everything. So you get a greater understanding. But I do want you to know that it was the South American shamans that made up the term shapeshifting. And in reference to this, it says shapeshifting, entering into a spiritual journey with the explicit purpose of transformation. So, I'm going to bring it big so you can see that it says that right there, this bottom part, read it, the South American shaman, and you see the word shapeshifting right there. And all it really meant was this top word right there, transformation. Transformation into the spiritual. It says shapeshifting and other forms of conscious dream work can, through regular practice, help us experience our realms of experience, visit our dead departed, and achieve spiritual mastery. Australian Aboriginals say we all live in the dream time. We are all like dream characters, living out our lives beyond the illusion of being born and dying. Tibetan master called this dream time the Bardo, B-A-R-D-O, or an intermediate stage. Bardo exists between the ending of one state and the beginning of another, such as birth and death, or death and rebirth. Dreaming too is a bardo, making the seemingly unstructured zone being between waking and sleep. And so you see, this bardo, I was reading it to y'all about the bardo priests, the ones that actually assist people when they pass away. They actually take their consciousness out of their body so that they don't have to experience what I'm trying to help you not to experience, which is being stuck in your body thinking you're dead, or you're on a journey in space and the dimensions until you eventually dissolve, and that's not good. But the point that I'm saying is, to awaken to all this now, you seeing it's the dream world is the real world. And this dream world, you have to get to know it by being conscious of it. Don't just write it off as a dream, because you come from the dream world and you're going back to the dream world. You can't take nothing physical with you, but you'll take back some habits, some beliefs that actually will play out in your mind, and you're going back to a mind. You're not going back to a place. You're going back to a mind. So once you realize it's controlling your mind, it's what controls your destination. You'll start the disattachments now, so you get to where you're supposed to be, which is back to the spirit world. Come back again, back to the spirit world to evolve yourself. All right. So the dream yoga says Tibetan Buddhism is unique among Buddhist school and reaching us how to awaken within the dream and how to practice spiritually while sleeping. This is the essence of Tibetan dream yoga and the force of all the practices associated with it. The Yoga of Dream State, an ancient Tibetan manual on the practice of dream yoga and lucid dreaming, teaches that we can learn 5 spiritual significant wisdom lessons through assiduous practices, this path of awakening. Now, these paths is important because it's actually what it means. It's like chakras that's locked, and there's only a gatekeeper there, and he only can accept one type of password. Just like in Solomon, what's the key or the code? So you got to know these just to get past these things. So it says dreams can be altered through will and attention, and that's what you want to do now. Use your will to wake yourself up and focus your attention, not to break the dream, so it won't pop you back into this third dimension. You'll stay in the fourth dimension, but you're in control now. It says dreams are unstable, impermanent, and unreal, much like fantasies, magical illusion, mirages, and hallucinations. And so that's why you have to hold it. Daily perception is the everyday waking state, also unreal. All life is hereby today and gone tomorrow, like a dream. There's nothing to hold on to. Conscious dream can lead us to the realization of wholeness, perfect balance, and unity. For centuries, Tibetan masters have taught their students how to use dream time and dream space to further spiritual growth progress by increasing awareness during the dream state. Tibetan dream yoga brings you these same techniques are realized in the five wisdom blessing and repeating the benefits of awakening within the dream. And that's why I tell you, I don't dream. I don't. As soon as it starts, I'm like, oh, what's going on? I'll be the first one. They don't even make me dream. They don't even work. It's been many years since I dream, but it don't like it don't try to happen. It try to happen, but I just be like, "What's up? What happened?" And then whatever I have to do, I just do it. I don't dream it. You know what I'm saying? As soon as it start, that's a red flag to me, and I just be conscious. You know what I'm saying? I'm still sleeping, but I know what I'm doing, and I see everything. All right. The six yogas of Tibet. Tibet Dream Yoga is one of the renowned six yogas of the Tibet and the ancient Buddhist teaching that originates with the enlightened yogic adat, what is called a siddhas, Siddhas of ancient India. Now, the siddhas is important to know because I'm putting siddhas all the way to West Africa. These are the West Africans that went and taught this thing called Tantra, and it was actually forbidden. You know, I'm taking it back there, but I'm just giving you an all around understanding because this will help you awaken. But we're going to go into the history and the good parts and the bad parts because it's a deep story. All right, now the six yogas are inner heat, which is mystic incandescent yoga, illusionary yoga, dream yoga, clear light yoga, Bardo yoga, and conscious transformation yoga, which will be like Kundalini alchemy. Uh, Now, I want you to understand that these six practices it will help you actually develop yourself. So this part is to actually influence you to understand yoga and why it's important, even from qigong, any form of it. You know, the six yoga traditions was first brought to Tibet 1300 years ago by the Indian tantric master Padmasambhava Bhava, founder of the ancient school of Nyingma of Tibet Buddhism. You know that he's not the first one. I'm gonna tell y'all later where we go back because it goes all the way back to West Africa. Padmasambhava himself received the teaching he codifies as the yoga of the dream state from a mysterious yoga named La Apa. So you see, everybody gets it from somebody. In his case, he get it from a guy named Lawapa, who they got him written down as mysterious, which is important to know because that's why we never get to know the real truth because they cut it with some type of mystery or everything become unknown. But it still go back because there's stories older than these that goes and you can see and track it down. The ensuing centuries as Buddha grew and the flourish of the Tibet, Marapa the translator and other Tibetan sages made the grueling journey on foot to India to study from yoga masters, then brought it to the teachings back with them. So you see, it didn't originate there. They went elsewhere and brought the teachings back. To practice the yoga, the six yogas, you can come to realize the infinite emptiness, openness, ungraspableness, and luminosity that is in the true nature of reality. Dream interpretation, the use of dreams for predictions and healing, and the development of psychic powers and healing abilities can arise naturally from conscious practice of dream yoga and related yogas. So you see, it's not like you seeking out to have psychic abilities, healing abilities. Just by waking up your dream, this is what it's saying that these is offered to you just by waking up in your dream because you always had that ability and you're dreaming now and that's why you don't able to tap in. But by waking up in your dream, remember everything in the spiritual world reflects in the physical world. So whatever you do in the spiritual world is going to actually convert your subconscious or your computer program or what we call the conscious mind. It reprograms it from you do that task or whatever. So once you engage in actually awakening into your dreams, you know, this will bring your perception. I remember, believe this or not, when I first went into the astral and I started doing everything, it was like you see two lights. It was a dark light and a lighter light, two shades of dark, like 50 shades of gray. And so these two, it was like they was always moving around and I couldn't grasp it. And so I had to learn that it wasn't like I had to use my hands, my limbs to grasp it. It was my mind I had to use. So I had to learn first to keep it still And once I was able to keep it still now, it took me maybe 2 days to figure out how to make it come to me. And once I learned how to make it come to me, that now became like a screen in front of me, a 10K screen. First it was like 2K or 1K, but as time went on, I ascended and did my chakra work. It's like 10K clear now. Now the concept is I have to hold it there. It involved in my third eye, so it was a lot of squinting like this going on. It was movements that made my third eye muscle, I guess, bust out, and that made it just hold the screen there now, and I could just see everything right in front of me. But when I first started, it was like a wild horse just all over the place, and I'm just like, but it was me that needed to focus. Now, once it taught me, it was like to align my nose, align it, and when I aligned it with my nose, it was like it was right here. Because when I first started, it was always to the left. So I'm traveling through here, but it's always this way, always this way. And so maybe it took me 3 months to realize why am I always going this way? And then I realized, no, I have to go this way. And that's when it became a wormhole. It started just making a hole for me to go through, like a wormhole. And I traveled in, I pop out someplace else as I push myself. And so these now is actually what I'm able to realize that it wasn't moving the body, it was the mind. The mind has to be able to grasp these concepts. It's not. That's why I feared for people who die, because you're gonna sleep for a second and wake back up. You're gonna become conscious eventually, because that's what happened to me. I'm conscious in my meditation. So I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I'm trying to move and I can't move. I'm like, what the fuck is this? How the fuck do I move? It don't work. And so I'm like, yo, when people die, they're gonna really believe they can move, and it's gonna take you like forever if you ever figure out how to move. If you ever do, it's not. You're gonna have things just scaring you to death for the rest of eternity till you learn to project. It's like flying a UFO. You're macabre. And so that's important for you to understand, to learn to be awake in your dream, because that's what they want. They telling you this is just a dream and this. But I'm just reading the Tibetan dream book, and this is telling you, no, it's not. There's more to this. You understand? So let's back it up. I just want to go from dream interpretations. This is what you're able to do once you're able to assess the use of dreams for predictions and healing, and the development of psychic powers and healing abilities can arise naturally from continuous practice of dream yoga and the related yogas, especially clear light, inner heat, and illusionary body. The spiritual benefits of Tibetan dream yoga. His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama has this to say about awakening our dream body and using it for spiritual progress and development. There is said to be a relationship between dreaming on one hand and the gross and subtle levels of the body on the other. But it also said that there is a special dream state. In that state, the special dream body is created from the mind and from vital energy, prana, within the body. This special dream body is able to dissociate entirely from the gross physical body and travel elsewhere. And that's what he had to say. He said, on the way of developing this special dream body, um, first of all, to recognize a dream as a dream when it occurs, then find that the dream is malleable, and you make an effort to gain control over it. Gradually, you become very skilled in this, increasing your ability to control the contents of the dream so that it accords to your own desire. Eventually, it is possible to disassociate your dream body from your gross physical body. In contrast, in the normal dream state, dreaming occurs within the body, but as a result of specific training, the dream body can go elsewhere. The first teaching technique is accomplished entirely by the power of desire or aspiration. So you see, you can do it. It depends on your desire. Like a lot of people, when I do like help with the actual, it's always an introduction where it's like egotistical to me, but they're like, what do I have on, what do I wear, what am I doing? They always want to know these things. What am I thinking right now? And so I let them know it don't work like that, because it's like you have to actually have this desire and aspiration to want to see these things. And so once you have these desire, it's like one thing Enki's telling you, and remember this, don't imagine it. Don't think it. It don't work like that. It works off of how you desire, how you feel about it. And when you have this feeling, as you close your eyes or you just go into the dark, your body give off the biochemistry to make it real. It's not you willing it with thought. It don't work like that. I mean, when you want something for yourself, yes, you will it with thought. But say you wanted to go into these natural places for what they really naturally are, see the natural you wouldn't induce anything. You wouldn't have no thought. You would just actually free yourself up, and the emotional side of you will produce the chemicals you need to take you on the journey to the other side. And so that's how it really worked. And a lot of people, when they do their astral projections, they actually think it themselves. They induce it themselves in their mind. It's not pure. You understand? But when you do it the biochemical way, this is alchemy, because you're going through a transformation. Every dimension you go through, it actually crowns you, or it gives you something, or opens up a genetic, give you a new perception, which is different from just saying, oh, I was over here last night, over here last night. That's in thought form, that's different. But let me continue. There's another technique that arises at the same end by means of prana yoga. There are meditative practices that utilize the subtle vital energies of the body. For these techniques, it is also necessary to recognize the sleep stage as it occurs. According to the sleep researchers, we typically experience four stages of sleep. Um, what's that? Hypnagogic sleep, the state of drowsiness when experienced as we're beginning to fall asleep. Ordinary sleep, here we enter a true sleeping state, but still be easily awakened. Deep sleep, which is vital function, slow down and are more likely to sleep through disturbances. And deeper sleep, muscular, are totally relaxed, and it would be difficult to wake up. We only spend about 15% of our sleeping hours at this stage. All right, so these stages is important because most of our astral take place on the, it's spelled hypnagogic, hypnagogic sleep. And what he says is that state of drowsiness we experience as we beginning to fall asleep. And as soon as we get into that and our head drop, we're in our astral, we're in our magnetic field. That's when a lot of sleep paralysis take place, because that's actually you yourself, your other spirits working with you. But for you, you want to fight it off, and instead of cooperating, just relax in it and breathe, and you will see that is you. What's going on, Michael? Peace and blessing. So, sensations, peace and blessings too. I didn't get to see yours. I must have had my face in this thing. All right. It takes about an hour to cycle through all four stages. Then we go back in reverse order to stage one before beginning the cycle again. However, we experience rapid eye movement, which is REM, under our closed lids. Researchers show that it is when we dream, we spend 20 to 25% of our sleep time in this state. Now, for my actual experience, when we say we're in REM state, that part where the rapid eye movement is going on, it's not like how we think it is. I'm putting you on. When that's going on, you got spirits under there, and they trying to lock onto your eye retina. And so it's a fight. They fighting all the time. You never give in. It's a fight. That's why you don't like to sleep. That's why we don't like our dreams. So it's a wrestling match going on all the time with you and them while you're dreaming until you fall into that deep sleep state. So that's what's going on, and we need to resist that and just take the journey. It takes about I already read that part. In order to practice dream over, you must introduce awareness during the periods of REM sleep. You see, that's why I tell you it happens in REM sleep, but now introduce awareness, which lasts for a few minutes to half an hour. That's why it's a quick actual process that you could do. It's not something that you have to wait till you fall deep into sleep and say, damn, I fell asleep, I didn't get to do. All you got to do is right when you're sleepy, the most sleepy and you're not yet, start being, I'm going to be aware of this. I'm going to get conscious of this. You know how I used to defeat them? I'm like the worst at it. I know all the cheat codes. What I know I'm about to do this because sometimes I'll be doing that because I do most of my meditations open eyes. And so when I start to do it, I have to open my eyes so I have to see. So I know eventually I'll do one that's not going to bring me back. So what I do, I start counting in my head while I'm doing it. And I swear to God, for some reason, as soon as I drop off and go to sleep, I'll be waking back up in my head counting. I'm awake like about 7, 8, in my head, I just woke up 9, 10, 11, and I'm just watching everything now. And they think I'm sleeping, but I'm not sleeping. And my body is sleeping, but I'm awake. We got the abilities to do all that, but that's how I wake myself back up if I want to continue observing what I'm observing while I'm falling asleep. You know, it's a very good technique to practice. I'm telling you, try it. It works. You know, meditate till you're about to doze off, then start counting. Keep meditating, counting in your head. And watch when you go to sleep, you're going to wake back up because of you counting. Wake back up counting like it was nothing. All you got to do is don't move. Because once you move, you'll wake your body up. Just stay still now and observe. Just use your eyes, use your peripherals, and just watch everything. Anyways, that's Lord and Keys little tricks. Now, in order to practice dream yoga, you must introduce awareness during the periods of REM sleep, which lasts for a few minutes to half an hour. If we can identify the stage while asleep, perhaps with the help of an assistant or a dreamlight device, we can further incubate, develop, and enhance the awareness practice of becoming conscious and lucid without the dream state. Dreaming. Tibetan Dream Yoga texts teach us that in general there are three types of dream. Ordinary karmatic dream arising from the day's activities and from previous life activities, thoughts, experiences, and contacts. Clear light dreams, spiritual visions, blessings, and energy openings. These three broad divisions, dreams can divide into first about other people alive or dead, forgotten elements emerging from the subconscious, archetype contents evoking symbols, and so on. Extrasensory perception, dreams and omens, radiant spiritual dreams. Reoccurring dreams, nightmares, dreams of death, and other kinds of commonly reported dreams all fall within the first four dream categories. In the interest of developing deeper awareness of your dreams, you may find it helpful to identify the category that applies whenever you recall a particular dream. So, you know, it's like we have to identify it, but you could override it and participate in it. Calling for you to wake up. It's for you to learn you came in your dreams and all those worlds that you saw in your dreams. Those is all available to you upon you're leaving this world. That's where you're going back to, and you actually could cultivate them, awaken. But if you're not conscious of them through your awakening life, you locked out of them upon death. You have to be already conscious of them alive. But if you never learn thinking this is it, like if you're in a tunnel and you can't do nothing about it, which is not what is the case. That's what's going to the difference between a mystic and a regular person. He knows the difference, or a shaman and a regular person. All right. Contemplating the mind and mental. No, no. Remembering ourselves of these four truths throughout our awakening hours helps us to dissolve the barriers between the dream of life. All right, let me read them. Contemplating the mind and mental activities as similar in subliminals, regarding the world and all phenomenon experiences as dreamlike and subliminal, impermanent, and unreal. So it says, telling you to regard everything in this world as like a dream, recognizing the reality and the ungraspability of intangibilities such as time, space, knowledge, and awareness. Reminding ourselves of these four truths thereout our awakening hours help us to dissolve the barrier between the dream of life and the sleeping dream. As we become more adepts at the practice, we begin to regard our nightmare dream as continuous of our awakening dream, and we will learn how to bring habitual awareness to both. Um, Now, this is the mirror practice, the fight, especially of self. From time to time during the day, take a few minutes to do it. Stand in front of the mirror and look into your own eyes. Hold up a hand, mirror behind your right or left ear, and look at its reflection in the large mirror. Keep angling the hand mirror so as it to fragment and multiply your image as many times as possible. Let your mind fragment along with the image. After a few minutes, angle the hand mirror back until you return to the original single image in the mirror in front of you. The analogy of a mirror image is like dreams traditionally used to describe the instability nature of our everyday experience. The mirror practice helps bring the teachings of to life. The fragmented image is the kind we might see in a dream, yet we are seeing it while we're fully awake, or are we? Allowing your mind to fall asleep also ventilate the solidity we typically attribute to our words, our worlds, and especially to ourselves. All right. Now, that's really much I wanted to say about the dream yoga. It's a good book, and the whole point to it is actually to make you awaken to, yes, there's another you, and there is another side to you, and there's more to you. And so with that in mind, we could leave that topic to head into it's I wanted to go into the philosophy of it now, the philosopher's stone, because this has to do with that same thing. When you awaken in your lucid and you're able to understand it, it's like the same as the movie The Matrix, where Neo pops up, which is your higher self. I mean Morpheus. Morpheus pops up, which is your higher self, and it start guiding you on this journey now and telling you what to do as you go through the many selves, your many sheets, as the cards in the tarot deck. You become every card in the tarot deck playing out, not just in the astral world or in dreams, or in physical world. Your personality, your characteristics, it mimics that you're reflecting from the astral world, the dream world. And so the whole theory of the philosopher's stone is to actually first wake up, and then it takes on a whole new context. Your reality does that. And so I'm gonna actually break down just the basics of the philosopher's stone on the philosophy, so that you get an idea first, not just give you everything already in action. What they by gold, what they meant by this, and what they meant by that, and what actually took place back then, and what they was doing to us to deceive us. And what I'm reading from, this is called Alchemical Collection of the Forefathers. This is about how many pages is this? This is 1,840 pages, right? It got just about every alchemical writing of the original fathers who was the people who started it. And so once you get their idea of what is going on, it's the same in every science, every magic, every religion. It's the same thing. They just converted it to their way. So I'm joining it in progress. This one is from by an Irenasia Philistines concerning the philosopher's stone in its grand archon. Now these was I choose these because they give you a greater insight into it without too much chemistry talk. He said, "For as a lion is always born of a lion and a man of a man, so all things owe their birth to that which they are alike. That which see right there when he said all things hold their birth to which they as nothing, but to me he's interpreting it as a God, as God, like you have something to do with God in some type of way, a higher self. And so he says that which is combustible is derived from that which is combustible, and that which is indestructible from that which is indestructible. Nor must we expect to find the principle which imparts the quality of gold anywhere but in gold itself. And indeed, we are able to create the sperm of things. We might hope to evolve this metallic principle from plants or animal which do not contain it, but that is the privilege of God alone. But we must content to dispose and develop the sperm which is made ready to our minds new things we are unable to produce. And even if we could, our artificial seed would not be no better than which nature had provided. If anyone calling himself a sage cannot use the things which are already created, it does not seem likely that he will be able to create a new thing out of the homogeneous substance, the seed of metals out of all herbs and minerals. But why is it called a stone? Okay, though it's not a stone, and how it is to be found. Sages describe it as being a stone and not a stone, and a vulgar who cannot imagine how so wonderful a thing should be produced except by art magic decry our sciences impious, wicked, and diabolical. Some silly persons clamor for an act making the profess of practice of this art punishable by statute law. Now one can hardly be angry with the illiterate and ignorant person who raised this cry, but when it has taken up by men of exalted station and profound learning, only hardly know what to say. These men are also reckoned among the rude multitude because they are deplored ignorant by everything pertaining to our art and yet forgetful of their dignity. They join in the hue and cry against it, like so many cowardly villagers cur. It is neither religious nor wise to judge that which you know not. And yet that is exactly what these people do who claim to be both Christians and scholars. So you see, they got against the Christians and scholars who, when they was doing their spiritual alchemy, or when spirituality was, they was being attacked by them purposely, and they was being their writings was being taken down. Everything that we talking about, like the sacking of Alexandria, these people practiced this art from it, and it was just abolished out of society. So they're telling you who abolished it, because these are writing from back then. These is his personal stories. And so once you get to understand these will make more clear what took place back then as far as our spirituality. So he goes on to say, know then that it is called a stone, not because it is like a stone, but only because by the virtue's fixed nature, it resists the action of fire as successfully as any other than purest. It is fixed and combustible like a stone, but it appears as if very fine powder, impermeable to touch, sweet to the taste, fragrance to smell, and potency in most permeative spirit, apparently dry and yet uncuctus, and easily capable of tingling a plate of metal. It is just called the father of all miracles, containing as it does all the elements in such a way that none predominates but all form a certain fifth essence, and thus called our gentle metallic fire. It has no name of its own, yet there is nothing the whole world whose name is might not be perfect, properly bear. It said, if we say that is the nature is spiritual, it would not be more than true. If we describe it as corporal, the expression will be equally correct, for it is subtle, primitive, glorified, spiritual gold. It is the noblest of all created things, after the rational soul, and has a virtue to repair all defects, both animals and metallic bodies, by restoring them to the most exact and perfect temper, wherefore it is an all spirit of quintessence. So these people had access to something that was special that not everybody had, and it seemed like they was codifying it in a way that nobody will understand it except for those that was going through it. And so this is where you get to understand there was a skimmage taking place between them and other peoples now. So with that in mind, I'm gonna give you now a little detail more of what the stone could do for you as far as why it was called the elixir and what it did for people's body and all that stuff. You know. So on that note, let me see. I like to put it with the light on. It's too early. All right, so let's get into what it would be like. So this you get to see the stone. He says, "Thus see that though our stone is made of." No, I read that one already. I don't want to go there. All right. Okay, I'm also gonna bring to light something about a comment that was made with me of saying that I don't drink water. And for the record, I haven't drunk water in about 9 years now. It's a pretty long time, but I didn't know why, and I had to actually look in these books and find out. And I will make you understand. It's not something I'm telling you to go do and recommend. I could give you a whole book on reasons, but That's not the point. This though demonstrates it, and I will bring these to your attention and make a little comment on it so that you could judge for yourself and not me telling you and then you going off of what I did, because what I do might not work for somebody else. Okay, so on that note now, he says, if you wish for a more particular description, oh, this is of the water, because he starts it with the water. I want to, okay, I went too far. All right, here we go. Consider these signs, ye sons of knowledge, that which dissolve in spirit, that which congeals is body. All right, he says, that which dissolves is spirit, that which congeals is body. A body cannot enter a body so as to cause dissolution, but a spirit can enter it, attuning and ratifying it. As if you seek water, you need water to bring it to life. For every agent has a tendency to assimilate itself that which is acts upon, and every natural effect is confounded to the nature of the efficient. Here, hence, water is necessary if you would extract water from the earth. So he goes, when I speak of water, I do not mean aqua fortis, royal water, or any corrosive whatsoever. Those waters, instead of dissolving metals, only corrode, mar, and corrupt them. See, that is the clue right there to tell you it's not regular water that they're talking about. And water itself is not good, because they didn't just leave water alone and say not regular water. He give you a description of why not regular water. So let me read it again. He said, when I speak of water, let me show you first, so maybe people want to screenshot it. It's the beginning lines up here. If you want to screenshot it and look at it or whatever, so, but I'm gonna read it. And if you want, I'll post this book, give you the link to it too. Just tell me to post it. It says, when I speak of water, I do not mean aquafortis, royal water, or any other corrosive whatsoever. For those waters, instead of dissolving metals, only corrode, mar, or corrupt them without destroying the old form, to which task they are insufficient, as they are not of a metallic nature. No, our water is the water of mercury, which dissolves homogeneous metallic bodies and mingles with them in indissoluble union, abides with them and digested with them, and together with them becomes the spiritual whole which we seek. For everything that dissolves a substance naturally still preserves the specific properties of the thing dissolved, becomes one of with it, both materially and formally, coalescing with it and thickened by their nourishing it. And as you can see, the case of a grain of wheat, which when dissolved by the humid earthly vapor nearby takes up on the vapor as erratic moisture and grows together with it into a plant. You see how that's the shit that they use with Jesus, how they say to keep everything together and it will grow at the end of the harvest. That's what he just said. So that's alchemy talk that he was talking. We didn't catch it, you know. Yes, it's definitely corrosive. I'm about to show you because I got like 3, 4 books. Even Isis told Horus that to don't drink water, and it's deep. And even the Coleman Bible, there's a dude named Yahshua who came and told him, don't drink the water. So I'm gonna break it down to you too, and I got alchemy books now, and I'm gonna break down what's called the negrito, the process, the calcination. Calcination is where that gonna come into play. Then you'll understand it when you break down what's calcination in alchemy. All right. So now, let me break this down real quick. A grain of wheat sown in a marsh soil. Well, you understand. I wanted just to get that part about the water out. If you want, this is what it said. If you wish for a more particular description of our water, I'm impelled by my motive of clarity to tell you that it is living, flexible, clear, nitrate, as white as snow, hot, humid, airy, vaporous, and digestive, and that gold melts in it like ice in warm water. Moreover, that it is contained the whole regimen of fire and then sulfur, which exists but does not predominate in it. This water is the true keeper of our gates, the bath of the king of the kings and queens, which warms them incessantly, but it is not taken of their, but it is not taken of their substance. And that's what water do to us that we don't know. It takes away easily. Everybody know that, scientifically been proven, if you drink water, it actually depletes you of your minerals and it goes into your urine. And as soon as you pee, you don't have no more urine, no more minerals. You could have just ate your dinner. As soon as you drink a liquid and you have to pee, everything and substance that you just accumulated is gone. You didn't even go to your body. So that's what happened with water. They did a test and found out a lot of joggers was passing out because they was drinking water. So that's where Gatorade and electrolytes and fortified water and all this stuff came into being, because they realized it was the water that was making the athletes pass out. It wasn't actually the athlete, because they was being depleted of their minerals instantly. So, you have to be careful with that. Plus, water is full of heavy metals, and if you're trying to ascend to spirit, heavy metals is against you. You can't use heavy metals, period. So you will have to balance out whatever you're going to do. And let me go into calcination. Y'all don't need to know no more about that. But it's funny. I don't want to change the subject too fast. Calcination is the first progenitor of the stone, the drying up of the humus. You see, that's important for you to understand. That's why you have to deprive yourself of water for the drying up of the humus. You have to become ashes inside, not water. So the calcination is like the last step in alchemy there. I'm going to run through the alchemy for you so you can see. That's why my appetite and thirst is leveling. Yeah, it's important. If you actually keep giving yourself water, it dilutes your spirit. That's what I'm gonna read to you next. It actually, like I said, dilutes your spirit, straight like that. Calcination is the first progenitor of the stone, the drying up of the humus through its natural heat, which is stirred into a vital action by the external heat of watery, whereby the compound is converted into a black powder, which is yet unconscious and restrains its radical humor. So if you turn it into a black powder, you don't want to turn into anything else. That's why when they be like you turning black and Masonic talk and all that, it's not because it's prejudice or they're trying to say that. That's calcination, the negrito. It's a process in alchemy. That's what you have to get. I knew that it related, but didn't totally understand. That's what's up, K Diva. Glad I could help you. It goes on to say this calcination is performed for the purpose of rendering the substance viscous, spongy, and more easily penetrable. For gold itself is highly fixed and difficult of a solution, even in our water, but through our calcination it becomes soft and wine, and we observe in its two natures, the fixed and the volatile, which we like two serpents, in order that a full dissolution may be made, there in need of contrition, that calcination may afterwards produce a viscous state when it will be fit for dissolution. And so that's what you need. When the soul comes, you have to dissolve yourself. You have to go through dissolution. And that's what Shiva, Rudra, Vishnu, Horus come to do. Cause desolation of the body. So biochemistry, chemicals go off in your body, thinking all kinds of crazy stuff. They have to do that to cause the calcination to occur. So it's more you learning how to produce chemicals now. And with you producing these chemicals, you have to go through trauma, all type of love making, all type of different experiences to produce these different type of chemicals. So on that note, let me see. I think I had just parts in reference to that. Let me see if I could pull it up for you now. And okay, this was the Bardos. I'm gonna see if I had put it down for y'all. Let me see. 1 minute. Okay, it's on my tab, my phone. We're gonna keep on going in reference to the waters. Okay, the next one, I know it's on here. Just remember now. Because like I said, I don't want to have y'all thinking something and say I got people caught up in this and, get anybody in any trouble. So I'm just taking you to the books. I got this next one. This is actually from the Emerald Tablet of Thoth. And they got a section in it. It's the best book up on spiritual transformation It's this one right here if you want to see how the cover look, because you ain't going to find this. It's not the regular emerald tablet. That's the one yellow one right there. I just want to go into the topic of, it's called, and see what it's called too. That's why you know everything I'm teaching you is the right path. It's called the fire breathing dragon. Fire breathing dragon is the term, and that's what it really is called. And listen, this says the first of the seven operations of alchemy is calcination, the heating and pulverization of the solid to drive off water and other volatile compounds. You hear that? And you see it right there. That's the first line it says too. You could read it. It's to drive off water. So, you know, when I tell you I don't mess with water and all that stuff, it's because of spirit. The spirit hovered over the water. It wasn't in the water. You know, I changed myself. And that's the process everybody got to do for ascension. So it says, because, you know, water, air, those is like the beings is in those things. There's beings in there. We don't fuck with those things. Yeah, that's crazy. Even fruits and vegetables is dumb beings, but you have to eat to survive. But you get to see that's what is in there, so we respect them. We don't mix them. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, let me continue. It says the first of the seven operations of alchemy is calcination, the heating and pulverization of solid to drive off water and other volatile compounds. What is left is a small pile of this desiccated white ashes, and the alchemists refer to this process of reduction as the fire-breathing dragon who drinks the water. Since moisture and volatility are symbolic of the libido and emotions, the alchemists were acknowledging a basic fact of the human condition. As we mature and are heated by the nature forces of existence, we tend to lose contact with our own life force. The older we get, the more adulterated we become, and the less psychic energy we have available. By middle age, many people feel they have lost a precious part of themselves and are leading in inauthentic and unproductive lives. Our souls have despaired trying to survive in a world of spiritual drought. The basic problem is that we identify with our superficial personalities, not our essence, and we invest all our energies in our egos, which are artificial constructs. In other words, we spend our life force trying to animate Frankenstein monsters that were never meant to live. This is why life for most humans being is one assault on their ego after another. And the more we try to enshrine our egos, the more insults we suffer. Decline of self-esteem, embarrassment, failure to be loved, loss of material possessions, and all other harsh realities of life gradually calcify our pampered egos. Yet yet all these bad, uncomfortable things just might be good for us if they burn away ego and slap us back into the reality of self. In many ways, the fires of experience and calcination are beneficial because they expose deeper layers of our essence, which rubbing away the false person in the world of the poet. We are redeemed from fire by fire. All right, I'm gonna leave it there for a quick minute, but you know, this is just still reference to the water thing so that you get to understand why I do that. I don't want everybody just thinking I said that and it's more deeper than that. So I think it's another one. Hold on. Okay. Is it this? Okay, I think all right. This now is ancient doctrines rediscovered. This one now says, I'm going to read it from the top, it'll come in. It says, the best known of the Hermetic treatise is Pyamanders, whose author describes how during meditation he conversed with the Pyamander or Nous, which is mind of the Supreme Being. This entity unfolds to him a teaching that is basically Gnostic. Man originates from God but has fallen into a world of matter created by the demiurge, who is himself an offspring of the divine intellect. After death, those who have achieved gnosis rise up through the spheres to be reunited with the Godhead. To say that the Hermetic writings taught a contempt of matter would be misleading. Unlike the more extreme forms of Gnosticism, Hermeticism seemed to see matter as a necessary part of creation, which must be understood and mastered if the spirit is to be raised above it. Hence, along with the Hermetic mystical doctrines, go certain teachings about the workings and manipulation of matter. This part of the Hermetic writings became the basic alchemy, in which therefore often referred to as the Hermetic art. This Hermetic alchemy includes theories about how to heal sickness, and this was supposedly one of the main activities of the original Rosicrucian Brotherhood. It may be useful to examine some of the ingredients of the Hermetic philosophy and medicine. In one of the Hermetic texts, the Sermon of Isis and Horus, here, listen to this. He says, a dialogues take place in which Isis reveals to Horus that man's body is a union and blend of four elements. And for this blend, a union, a certain vaporous rise, which developed by the soul, but circulates within the body, sharing with each with body and soul its nature. And thus the difference of changes are effective both in soul and body. For if there be in the corporal makeup more of fire, there in the soul, which is by nature hot, taken unto itself another thing that is hot, and in being made more fire, makes life more energetic and more passionate, and the body quick and more active. If there be more air, life becomes light and springy and unready, both in soul and body. Isis goes on to say that excess of water, I'm going to say it again. Isis goes on to say that excess of water makes the creature's supply and able easily to meet and join with others through water's power of union and communion with the rest of things. It is earthly element, it is excess. Then the creature's soul is dull, for it has not its body features loosely knit. It is this cause that the body is also heavy and inertia. So you see, it actually tell you about water, and tell you about them in a couple of things. It seems like everybody's trying to tell you something with this water that they're pushing on us and all this other stuff. Like I said, it says that, to refuse it, because it seems like this is alchemy too, that basically that's what she's breaking down to you, alchemy in not so many words. You know what I'm saying? So I'll read it again. It goes on to say that an excess of water makes the creature supple and able easily to meet and join with others through water's power of union. So this is where you get your social group, and when you have a lot of water in your system, it's just like how they say in genetics, they put one gene in water and another in another bottle over there in water, and the water actually, the genes could communicate if they're in water. Same thing, water retain memory. So water itself, once you're in it or you drink in it, whatever is in there is in you and is in this person, is in everybody. So everybody tune in through the water. You understand? It's its own vibratory frequency. I'm gonna place a video up, an old video on the water, what water could do. And y'all gonna see it's an old video. They even took it off of YouTube. And I'm gonna try to repost to see if they let it up. All right, now this goes on to say, join others through water's power of union and communion with the rest of things. If the earthly elements is in excess, then the creature's soul is dull, for it has not the body features of loose knit. In this case, the body is also heavy and inert, but there is a balanced state of all elements in which the animal is made hot of doing, light of moving, well mixed for contact, and excellent for holding things together. So you see also they use the term animal, and that's what I was trying to tell you from the Lumerian text to how we perceive ourselves. We perceive ourselves as these human beings, but that's just according to what the government is telling us who we are. As far as the ancient writings are saying, everybody's saying it's like you get a chance to be human, or to be this term that they call man, if you could ascend past your passions and your desires. And so that's the motive for what I'm trying to teach when I'm teaching, and so that you get to understand why. And this is what it shows me. This is what it told me. You understand? And being with the Father up there, that's the lessons He showed me. So I'm bringing them back to you, and you make a choice upon understanding these matters on a more higher level. So, on that note, now I've covered really everything. In reference to the Philosopher's Stone, right? I wanted to bring it to your attention what was actually taking place back then. It was more of like they were actually switching the records from the time of the medieval time is when education just had got invented, scholarship. What if you have an animal spirit guy? And there's that's the true you. You're a demon. If you was a higher god or demigod, you'd be a demon. You're not even a demon. It's something worse than a demon, and that's a human being. So a demon is higher. Like that's when you go to your higher self, the whole sphere of it and mastered it, you become a demon. That's why the Greeks worship them as Agos Damien. But the animal, if you're seeing animal spirits, those is all higher beings. That's how you would look if you was to see your true self, your higher self. That's why the Egyptians show themselves as anamorphic beings with half and half. That's how everybody truly look. Remember, you're only this way you look because of the pressure per square inch pulling on the air that actually pushes skin together. This is not your true form. So if you look at it now, separate you and let the pressure come off of this atmosphere that we're in, go into space, you will change your form. Your form will disorientate into your spirit form, which will be of the animals. Not because that you're an animal, because the animals was here first. Everything that came before us still exists. And no human has excelled past their knowledge, their wisdom. Trees is actually beings too. The trees is being, the crystals is beings, things that been here already that is alive, plants. That's a whole different world. You could study each one. They inhabit different worlds with us. We share worlds with them because we come from them. But we also have the soul world. None of them is in the soul world. You understand? That's when you become man now, human. I mean, not the soul world, the spirit world, because animals have, we share the soul world with plants, I mean. Animals have an astral body. So if you're in the astral body, you're in the world of animals. Even though they look human, they're going to be there. Then as you move up, we share a soul with plants and trees. And once we pass there, you have a mineral body, which now works with the ethereal body. They opposite each other. One give you life and replenishes everything, give you new stuff. The mineral body's constantly dissolving you, dissolving you, dissolving you. So when your time is up, you just have your dissolution going. You understand? But when you're doing alchemy, you're actually going to take yourself through the consciousness of all those different frequencies of yourself. Because within each one that I said, the astral, you could say, it's probably like 16 zones to it. You understand? Then you cross over into the soul. Then they got like 16 zones. Each one of them adds up, you know what I'm saying? So once you're able to understand it, then you going through perception spheres. Just like in the movie The Game of Death, where Bruce Lee going up on each one fighting, each one being a gatekeeper. So you go through and you meet something that's going to stop you, block you. It's invisible to you. And it's probably a ghost or a cloud image, but in it, it's just going to keep you in a circle now. You're just going to go like this until you figure it out. Then you move forward again. Start moving forward. Then you get caught up by a gatekeeper and you keep doing this for the rest of your life till a new chapter open. You know a new chapter in your life open, you pass the gatekeeper with something you did and your life changes. So you could always have a life changing if you're conscious of your gatekeepers and not actually egotistical or really trying to push your will or force upon whatever that you're experiencing. If you understand, it's just a lesson for you to learn. And what they're trying to say, could you convert yourself to meet what they're saying? Then you pass. You understand? When you don't pass, that's when you get caught up and you wind up repeating yourself over and over again. All right. So now, back to the Philosopher's Stone real quick, as I wanted to let you hear what was taking place so we know there is the deception going on. This is from Prolocutor's derogatory address. This is a letter he wrote to like the kings and everybody in reference to what was taking place back then. And I wanted you to just catch a quick overview of what was going on. He says, worship noble, etc., generous masters and patrons. We reviewing the whole course of my studies from my youth up. I find and have indeed hitherto find my work and clearly experience more and more with the lapse of time as daily experience truths it won't be happening to the true believers and right naturalists. That there is three kinds of philosophy or wisdom of which the world partly makes use, some more than others, some of this and others of that. Yet one of these three alone is eternal, indestructible, and may stand before God Almighty, for which I, however, but few students are found, because it proceeds and flows from above the Father, the light. Now the first is the common philosophy of Aristotle, of Plato, and of our own time, which is but a Kagastarian philosophy, speculation, and fantasy, which even at the present day all the schools are filled, and by which they are befooled and believed youthful, thereby led astray. So this guy's telling you that Plato stuff, Aristotle stuff, and a few more is a lie, and he's living at the time where they writing this stuff, and he's writing to the kings to say how y'all letting this go through, not knowing this is the great ploy that they're pulling on us. This is the new world order being implemented in its beginning stages. This is all this is, the new world order in the beginning stages. I'm telling you, the people who was like, yo, what is going on? Who's this Plato? Who's this Aristotle? And why are they lying? You understand? This is what we're getting to now. So he said, all schools are filled. Yeah, that's where I'm at. All schools are filled, and by which they are befooled and beloved youth, thereby led astray. The same is a name and erroneous empty chatter and far removed from the fountain of truth. Even in the present day, it is blasphemous defended tooth and nail with all sorts of opinions, ideas, ignorant imagination, and erroneous thoughts of the old heathens who were held to be sages, which were accepted as the truth. For it is derived from an unpious heaven and stars, evil influences, also inspirations of Satan, and at the time was considered a great mystery and sacred things, as it also is at the present by the great majority of learned me. But this is an erroneous, false, fatal, misleading sophisy, which, like the body in the grave, is brought to naught but dust and ashes, and its same against which the inspired Apostle Paul warns us in the epistle, beware of vain philosophy and beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. The philosophy, although from youth up, it was earnestly and diligently calculated and forced upon me, and the schools as unfortunately occurs to others at the present day. Yet by special interpositions of my Holy Spirit, it became as suspected by me that I never could torture my head, mind, and soul with it, but persuaded my heart that the same was a sacred thing, not cleave unto its others, but did according to my childish judgment let the matter rest until about year 1587 or 1588, after philosophy came into my hands, and at the same time I had my own mind firmly resolved not to remain the least among my fellow scholars, but in due time to graduate and advance of all. So at the time, you see, he was an educated person that didn't follow or didn't want to believe it, but was not in the place. So I'm going to move forward so we get to the good stuff. He says, our philosophy can never teach us to the know thyself, nor the foundation or natural revelation in which some heathen philosophers, particularly Pythagoreans, had progressed so far that they might with reason be preferred to many professed Christians of today. He, especially from the stars and the creatures of the earth, learned more about nature than were arrogant, boasting philosophers who at the bottom understand and nothing themselves what fate teaches others. But this is our Hermetic philosophy, which comprises the true astronomy, alchemy, and magic as the Kabbalah, etc., is an extraordinary, ancient, true natural science derived from Adam, who both before and after the fall had full knowledge of all things and handed it down from father to son through the patriarchs and dear friends of God. After the flood, the general understanding and knowledge of this true natural philosophy became weakened and forced and scattered in fragments in all directions. Hence arose a subdividing of the whole into parts, and one has become an astronomy, another a magician, and a third a Kabbalist, a fourth an alchemist, and especially did it afterwards flourish in Egypt. For instance, the smith Abraham Tubal-Cain past master in all kinds of brass and ironwork, and also an excellent astrologer and arithmetician, brought these arts with him from Egypt into the land of Canaan, and the great skill, wisdom, and knowledge in the above arts attained by the Egyptians was by them also communicated to other nations. So he says the Chaldeans, the Hebrews, the Persians, and the Egyptians have also possessed and cultivated this knowledge together with theology and instructions in divine things. Thus Moses was so informed by all good arts in the schools of the Egyptians that he became perfect in wisdom, and therefore was not in vain chosen by God to be the leader of the people of Israel. So you see, the art that they're talking about was something that was beyond education, beyond anything. They're talking about something that was inside of them. And there was all of a sudden people coming telling them, no, take out what's inside of you, let me educate you. And by educating them, they lost their natural ability to do things the natural way. This is what this is saying. So he goes on to say, thus also Daniel from his youth up learned and embittered this art in the school of the Chaldeans and in the prophecies, and his skill in all kinds of interpretation before King Nebuchadnezzar and Belteshazzar, clearly and wondrously testifying such philosophies and magi were also the three wise men from the east, who sought Christ Jesus from the rising of the sun and found him in the manger at Bethlehem. But subsequent to origin of this divine, magical, and natural true philosophy, namely 27 years after the flood, about the year 1680 A.M., among the Chaldean, Persian, and afterwards in Egypt, the adulterous and superstitious Greeks, having heard of the same, their noblest and sagest men proceeded to Chaldea in Egypt in order that they might learn such wisdom in their schools. But they did not relinquish the teachings of God's word from the Holy Bible and in the law of Moses, and depended upon their reasoning and understanding, wished to be clever and wiser than God himself, as in the wont of Lucifer and his disciples. For it was always happened that when God builds a church, the devil sits his chapel up besides it. And it also recorded in the New Testament, for when Christ, the great speculative philosopher and heavenly sower, sowed his good seed, the enemy immediately threw his tares and weeds upon it, which also happened to this day. Therefore have they fallen away from their foundation and essence of all natural mysteries and hidden arts, and have sought wisdom in the senseless stupidity and erroneous deceptive star of Satan, which they have obscured and diluted with truth, for their own pride and presumption have hindered the fools and plunged them into error. For after having learnt a little from the Chaldean and the Egyptian, they became too puffed up and proud, depending more than was meet on their own understanding, that they began to criticize things within many false and vain inventions, and took themselves to ascribe them to a false philosophy, concealed in their own subtle brains, under the influence of the evil star, which false philosophy not only got the upper hand among the Greeks, but spread from them to the Latins, who not less than in former also wished to screw their own understanding. Immediately they had acquired a little knowledge, whence instead of improving, increasing, or admiring, they have only made things worse. So you see what's going on here? This is telling you how everybody went to Egypt, got the knowledge, then perverted it, and then said, fuck God, fuck the principles behind it. and just made up science, made up what we live under today. That's why everything is equated to Pythagorean. But Pythagorean is the deceiver, according to what these people who lived in the 1500s are saying. And what we had naturally in us was taken out of us, and we was taught how to do things the wrong way. Everything was wrong. I'm gonna end it off with his last part and what he says now. He says, now, by this so-called philosophy has been dismantled throughout entire Europe. Meditate to the neglect of Moses and the prophets, even the Christ himself, not only in Germany but in also all other nations. When anyone advances aught of true philosophy grounded in the word of God, but which is contrary to theirs, he is not only condemned, mocked, and laughed at, but is called an eccentric and a heretic and heresy, as has happened to me and at hand for certain pseudo-Levites, or even persecuted. The old proverbs remain true. The world wished to be deceived. Satan is a clever juggler, using many deception which has led astray all Christendom, through the way unto the eternal night of hell, with the dark lantern which they take to be a true guide and light. Let him who would be deceived continue in his present course. On a certain day he will find, with eternal lamination, bowling, and garnishing of teeth, how hot hell really is. So I just could stop there to show you that it's a deception going on. It's not me making it up. They're showing you. You read. I'm reading from this guy's own personal writing, and he's telling me from back then, education and all that stuff was the deception implemented back then, and the world was changing, and it was headed in the wrong direction, and that's where we're at today. We live under that mind state. We see through those eyes of what they put down because we believe it. Okay, now he goes on to tell you the truth, the same thing I'm sending you from. This is his last part. Now he said, all natural art and wisdom are given by the stars to men, and we are the disciples of the stars. The constellation are our natural parents. For the light of nature we must learn as from our Father, from whom we are made and begotten. The stars are our lawful instructors for our understanding, and art comes to us from them. God has to order it that the natural light is the stars, and that the same has he laid the treasures of men to obtain from them. But what man learns from the stars is all temporal and knowledge, reason, art. What also is of light of nature must be derived from the same source. In short, the firmament teaches us whatsoever permits to things temporal, but that which pertains to the immortal soul and to the godly conversations of the inner man, all that must be learned from God, for it concerns the image of God, and if it the office of the Holy Spirit to instruct men in this eternal thing. So you see that literally he didn't tell you to go get an Egyptian book. He didn't say that we need to go study magic. He didn't say what we need to go read a Kabbalah. He told you go to the stars. The stars is your teacher. The same thing I'm saying. Go to the sun. Go to the moon. That's it. All your perception, all your knowledge, you've been had it already. You just forgot. That's all this is about. It's not about actually learning. It's about remembering. That's what you're here to do. Remember. Remember that. You understand? I got a few things I got to take care of. Well, we're gonna do a part two to this because I didn't even get into the other book because it's 7 parts to the alchemy. We just went over calcination. You know, I'll need y'all to know the negrito and all the other parts. So let me see. I'm gonna see if I could come back on tonight or tomorrow. Don't expect me or keep hold me to it, but I'm gonna try to come back on because this is gonna lead up to Tantra. We're gonna get into Tantra, but I'm gonna cover these little parts first. Yes, yes, thank you, Yoel Adams. You know, I really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for your support, you know, and everybody tuning in. We're the new royal family. And, you know, with that being said, our job is to actually configure ourselves to this new reality. If you hear and you listening, obviously you're concerned with yourself and where you're headed and who you are. And with this, it's going to help us get the perception you need as you go through your daily experiences to configure yourself to see things that now you got a perception of it and understand in the right way that you could not make the same mistake or stay sleeping like everybody else do. With doing that, you automatically take the position as the man on the throne, the prince, which is what you're going to pay yourself back in. But as long as we don't pay attention to what we're doing, like how you're listening or tuning in, then you aren't going to be able to see the subtle things that actually make you make the big mistakes. These is what you're tightening up on now. So as a royal family, you get the wisdom of Solomon in the eyes of Ra, to see beyond just with the form you're seeing, to hear and understand beyond before the person come and talk to you. You already got an idea of what he's going to want or what's going to happen. And that's where we're headed for now. Once you're able to tune into these frequencies, be one with it, live with it, your life takes on a new turn. You actually heal biochemistry wise. You bring the force down on you that remains around you, the Jedi force. You become the Jedi, and the force is always with you. And so once you're able to tune in and you hold in that energy, you become the empath, and eventually it takes you to new levels of yourself that I can't even tell you. That's the healer. That's why no matter what book you read, no matter how you look at it, even if it's from black magic, left hand, it leads to healing. It leads to you sickening yourself and then healing yourself, because it's about biochemistry. It's chemistry you producing inside yourself. It's not so much enough imagination. It's actually inducing certain chemistry to bring back the memory of who you was, give you back the journey inside. Never a journey in the physical, because this only one physical. That's what you have on you. Any other thing else aside from that is going to be subtle in a hologramish way, light energy, or you just feel feelings or sensations or through perceptions and intuitions, insights, dreams. All of those is where these is going to occur till you're able to make the transition. Yeah, from fixing, healing to creating. That's right, you all. That's what this is gonna come now. Because once you finish healing, healing starts your business, your occupation. Because once you heal the self, you can heal others, and that's what they want you to do. They actually gonna inflict you with something to make you sick. And once you're able to heal yourself, say, I'm not going to the doctor to get this fixed, I'm gonna do it myself. You will see that was what they was trying to teach you in the first place. The steps to healing yourself is the steps for you to learn the craft, to learn the art. Once you heal yourself, you have those underneath your belt to start you now to go and make money for yourself, to start a business for yourself, to start healing others. Once you do that now, it's not about you healing others. It's what you're leaving here in this earth. What positive um, message are you leaving? What are you building? What are you doing for society? You can't just come and live and then just that's it. You have to leave your mark here. And leaving your mark is what your purpose is after being a healer. To not just say, I heal this person, heal that. Those people is going to be the ones to be there at your judgment, to show your good that you did. You need that. That's part of your journey. But part of your journey is to leave something here, something positive, something that could possibly change the world. I want to say possibly, something that could change the world. That's what you're here to do. And so the only way you're going to develop that is first by healing yourself. If you could heal yourself, no matter what it is, you could start the journey upon holding your mind, your will, your ambition to do that what you seek. Whatever you think and whatever your ambition is, it's up to you now. Yes, look within your star. That's right, yo. You're the star. And once you get to understand more and unite yourself with nature, the stars, the sun, the moon. The moon is your mother. It's the feminine side of you, your left side. The sun is the other side of you, the right side. It's the male. It's the man in you, the analytical. The female is the intuitive, creative, the genius, the artist, the preacher person, the singer. All of those is your feminine moon side. The analytical business side, the one who take care of the bills, take care of the or whatever, any type of business, that's the sun side, that's the male side. And you balance them out. Give yourself both energies. The third eye is the star. This is the star right here. That's why it's purple. You understand? So you would get the third eye going from the two right side and the left hemisphere. uniting, giving them both that energy, that prominence from the sun and the moon, those magnetic and electric, sun electric, moon magnetic. Once you put these forces together, poof, your third eye open. Once your third eye open, you see orbs and lights, funny experiences, strange biochemistry going off because you're in the underworld now. You're invited to do alchemy, which is spiritual transformation, twice born, and intuitively everything is done within you. If you saw my interview that I posted with that guy Gerchi, you know, he told you that most of our work, I don't do nothing. I don't instruct them. I just give him the energy. I give it to him, and it does it for itself. Like I have my own teacher. An angel come in front of me and teach me. Same thing. He has his own teacher that pops up out of him. All I help do is activate it because, like I just read to you, we're not the teachers. The sun and the moon and the star is. But I'm here to activate that. That's it. Just activate you, and the rest you run. You go on. Choo. Nobody have to teach you nothing. You get it from nature, the stars, the air, the demiurges. All of them is here. Like how dude said that he's invited into the underworld, or the woman, you know, that's Lilith coming to seduce him. That's how it works. You understand? But there is no fear. Our fear prevents us from doing things, from moving forward. Overcome your fear. What do you know about the time before the moon? Well, the time before the moon, we was in the golden age. That's called the golden age. You know, if you ever want to know what the time was before the moon, that's when we was in the sun. There is no time before the moon because the moon always was here. That's what I mean when we was in the moon, the earth and the moon was one. That's when we was those creatures and demons was created. That's why that whole frequency came along. But prior to that, we was all in the sun. The moon and the earth and the sun was in the sun. So that was what they call the golden age. I'm trying to understand. Yes, it's going to take time for you to understand everything because we were so programmed to see things the wrong way. Um, what happened if, what does it say? What happened if you can't see any star up in the sky? You can still actually feel the prominence. It's more of a prominence to it. You see, the magenta spectrum is what the star color is. It actually permeates through everything. You can't avoid it. Even though y'all have the fluorescent light of the city that blocks out the dome, you know, it blocks out the stars. But what you do is you just have to meditate, get yourself into a aromatic feel for the magenta spectrum. Turn off your lights in your room, and actually you will get a purplish thing. If you even close your eyes, it's like a purple matrix coming. It's like a mesh pattern come. If you could pull that up, you're pulling in the purple prominence of the stars. Stars colors purple, magenta, those pinkish type colors. Those, if you could tune them in darkness. They cut through darkness, infrared. Those is in those spectrum. So you don't have to actually see the star if you could will it, like I just said, because it's this. It's like iron filings around a magnet. Now you put the magnet in the center and put the spread the iron filing out. They'll all align certain way. They're just aligned. Boom. So you could change it now that you don't do iron filing. You could do zinc. You could do aluminum. You know what I'm saying? It's like right now you want the sun energy. The sun isn't there. You could will still the sun energy. The energy is always there. You just can't see it. That's what I'm saying. So if you perceive it in yourself, you could actually pull it out of the atmosphere. Like you could pull water out of moisture. You know what I'm saying? So that would be the way for you that is in a city place or some place where you can't receive it. That would how you would go about trying to pull it and draw it in. If not, just turn off your lights at night and be in your room in darkness and close your eyes. That will pull it and think about the star. You know, watch a video of them going straight into the star, then close your eyes and do the journey yourself. And so that will give you the same energy. The same thing with the moon. If you can't see the moon, will that silver is always there. It's never no change. It's never no difference. We just perceive light and darkness. But the energy still perceiving on us like that. Do you have to be extremely relaxed to meditate? Yes. You have to be superbly relaxed. As it doesn't make no sense to meditate. You're better off doing contemplation than meditation for you to actually experience what I'm telling you about, you have to actually take everything off of you. You can't have nothing on you. You have to be free, no thought. And if you have a thought or you go in there with that thought, that's what you're going to see. Whatever thought you have on you is what you're going to experience. For you to experience the pure you and all your journeys to ascension, you got to be thoughtless and just go through it. You only see what pertains to you if you're thoughtless. But if you have hurt, pain, angry, upset thoughts, that's what's going to manifest, just that, in the weirdest, strangest way. All right, y'all. I'm glad for y'all tuning in. Y'all have a wonderful evening, all right? God bless you.